David Hernandez, registered nurse, and I am 40 years old.
For the past decade, David Hernandez has been helping thousands of patients at UC Health.
I work in the emergency room, and I've been working as a registered nurse for the last 12 years. And I meet other cancer patients, and I tell them, hey, I'm a cancer survivor. I had a stem cell transplant. I only was given a 33% chance of surviving. I had surgeries where I lost the bottom halves of both of my lungs. I lost all the lymph nodes out of my abdomen, and I got through it.
His path to medicine and the importance of helping others hit home when he was a teenager.
When I was 19 years old here in Aurora, I was diagnosed with stage 3 testicular cancer, which is the most common cancer for men under 30. But I had never heard of it. It came as a shock to myself. And when it meant stage 3, it had spread to the lymph nodes of my stomach and had spread to both my left and my right lung. And it turns out that I was probably sick for a year before I finally found out at 19 years old.
At that moment, he knew his life as a teenager and young man would forever be changed.
When you're alone in the hospital and you're laying in that bed, it's very isolating. And I fell victim to depression during that time. I fell victim to loneliness. But I couldn't let that define me. And I realized very quickly that if I continued down that path, that it was only negativity that was going to follow me. And so I allowed myself to be vulnerable. I reached out. James with Cops Fighting Cancer was amazing. He asked me, what would make you happy? What would be a perfect day for you? And I'm a huge Colorado Avalanche fan because I grew up in Aurora, and I said, I would love to meet the Colorado Avalanche. And he actually made that happen. And he said, who's your favorite player? I said, Peter Forsberg. And he actually arranged for me to go and watch a skate around. I got to have lunch with the team, and I got to meet Peter Forsberg. And he signed my jersey, he gave me a hug. James and I got to hang out with the Avs. And for that one day, it was just, it was probably one of the best days I had that whole year.
It's at that moment, he says, he learned the value of organizations like Cops Fighting Cancer.
When I look back, I look at that day, and it's one of the brightest days in a very dark time. And if organizations out there can just take someone who's alone, who feels separated from their community and separated from everyone they love, and to give them a day, just that day, that you remember that, hey, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Brightness will come again. And just by interactions with Cops Fighting Cancer in that one day, it made me feel like my old self. It made me feel like a 19-year-old again. It didn't make me feel like a cancer patient. It didn't make me feel sick and have this bone pain and have this deep joint pain that I always had during my chemotherapy. It lifted me up. It made me realize that, hey, I'm not fighting by myself. There's amazing people out there who will support you and remind you, hey, keep fighting. People got your back. You're not alone. And when I got better and when I got through it, that's what I wanted to do. I was inspired by James. I was inspired by Cops Fighting Cancer. And I said, you know what? I want to give back to my community too. So I decided to become a registered nurse. And I decided I was going to fight for people who are going through that diagnosis.
While his life journey may have started off rocky, it's a path that led him to his wife, Melissa. Two actually met while in nursing school.
And I got to be a dad, and I got to get married, and I got to have a life and a career. And it brings your faith back in humanity. Because there's so many times where you're saying, why me? Why is this happening to me? And then you realize it's not just you. There's a ton of people who are dealing with cancer. There's a ton of families that are dealing with it. And I want other cancer patients to know you're not alone. There's other people, there's other survivors that want to help you. And you just have to ask, just make yourself vulnerable, reach out for that help. And I'm one of them. And if there's anything that I could ever do to help someone who's going through the journey I went through, I want to share that.
A journey that David Hernandez says is a reminder for all. With the help of good people around you, a good attitude, and care, anything is possible.
This is an ongoing experience. And I always felt empowered to reach out to Cops Fighting Cancer if I needed anything at all. And they always said, hey, we got your back. You're part of the family here. And it's awesome because not everyone gets to live in a town where they have Cops Fighting Cancer. And I wish they would, but I've been lucky enough to be fortunate enough that it's here in Aurora and be in close proximity to them and close to Aurora PD and all the great things they do in the community outreach. And it's been a blessing for me and my family.